Okay. So good afternoon, everybody. Good
Good
afternoon,
afternoon,
kids,
madam.
and good afternoon to our wonderful participants. My name is Jumoke Oyelese, and I'm your anchor for this period. So we're starting with Mr. Adeniran, right?
Yes,
Good.
Akin Adeniran. Yes,
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Adeniran. How are you this afternoon?
madam. Very well. I thank you. Yeah.
All right. So could you quickly give us like a brief summary of your person, your career so far? Thank you.
All right. My name is Akin Adeniran. I'm an accountant, principal partner of Akin Adeniran and Co. I'm a finance professional and a chartered accountant, chartered tax person. Experience ranging from different industries, banking, um, operations management, a bit of education, and investment. At the moment, I practice in accounting around a firm of chartered accountants, General and Co. And yeah, the fast growing firm of accounting and finance professionals. So,
All right. Thank you very much for that very concise introduction. So straight to the question, can we ask if there was anyone that influenced your decision to go this career route?
all right. Okay. If there's anybody that, yeah, I would say yes, because a bit of my uncle, you know,
Okay.
I- when I was in secondary school, I was actually in the sciences, did the physical, chemistry, basic electronics and everything. But
Okay.
basically, I think my closeness to him during my growing up years and the fact that he was an accountant and I see the way when he's going to work in the morning, the, 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 his lifestyle, and his good way of analyzing matters, a couple of other things, factors about him endeared me to his profession, accounting. I think in himself, he actually wanted me to accountancy. So passively or actively, he had a bit of influence in my
Mm.
career choice. And it's been a good one, really. I would say a good influence. Thank you.
So apart from your uncle as an influence, would you say there was something in your childhood that cemented the fact that there was a mentor that influenced you in that career path also?
Yeah,
Maybe. Okay.
could you repeat that, please? I missed a bit of that.
Hello.
Yeah, could you repeat that? I missed a
Okay.
bit of.
All right. I said that apart from your uncle being an influence in your
Yeah,
choosing accounting as a career route, can you
yeah.
say there were other things in your childhood that cemented that path for you, that you knew that yes, you were definitely going to go the accounting route as an adult?
Yeah. Yes, I would say yes, very well. Um, I think in myself, the bit of inner skills that I possess, which is highly analytical
Okay.
um, skills, a good flair for numbers and for figures, and also growing up, I think, basically, accounting is this kind of profession whereby right from school, right from when you're actually you're dealing with money, you're dealing with figures, you bought this, you sold this for the profit. And my incline for that, even at my growing up years, um, hated my career choice because I can remember growing up, I see people selling newspapers, and my dad's always buying newspapers every day. I had it in my life. This is already a lot of money. Does anybody? I'll be looking at it that the vendor is already making so much money. So my flair for a bit of business
Numbers.
inquiry mind, analytical skills, and love for figures. Really, one of the things that endeared me to studying something that had to do with numbers, studying something that had to do with finance, studying something that had to do with business and financial reports. Hope that answers the question.
Oh yes, it does very well. So, um, when did you start your professional course? Was it when you were in university or after you left?
All right. Okay. Yeah. Uh, I just sorry about that.
No problem.
Um, I would say that I started my journey towards being an accountant and finance professional when I left secondary school
Okay.
because I said my secondary school days I did the regular physics, chemistry, biology, and yeah, I'm an accountant. So you look at where how did it how did my journey to accounting um, start? Really, my secondary school, did physics, chemistry, biology. Going to university, point of danger, I switched to was a gap, a startup course, let's put it that way, called that is initiated by a professional body, ICANN, called scheme. So it's probably, I'll say it's like a breeding ground, a training ground for non-finance, non-accounting students that want to route themselves into the accounting profession. So before I started, I actually went to university for the accounting. I started 8 years, so I could have some background knowledge about accounting even before I I enrolled, I gained admission, and that really helped me because by the time I gained admission, um, all the accounting papers, all the finance topics were not so strange to me. I had a bit of foundation in them, cutting my 8 years um, also, that route was actually very key to me um, continuing my professional accounting career. I mean, professional my ICANN training, because it was that route I actually used to qualify as a chartered accountant a couple of several years ago. So
Okay.
that's yeah.
All right. Thank you for that wonderful response. So, would you say that there was an advantage you had by starting earlier than your classmates who probably started later after school?
Oh yes, oh yes. Without missing words, that part really helped me. Really like helped me to jumpstart my accounting profession on a very good note because at least it helped me to get good grades in school. You know, it helped me to finish my professional career, my accounting, my chartered accountancy um, studies in very good time. I remember having barely, barely just about early 20s when I qualified as a chartered accountant. And as we all know, I mean, maybe things have changed now, but in those days, qualifying as a chartered accountant, very, very out of probably 100% that like, right there, I can exam, probably like probably less than 20-25% qualified. And you hear stories of people that qualify after like 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Let's say 12 years. So many attempts of writing the exam, but I mean, my story was a bit different because it was just straight attempts at the profession and my exams. I passed. So really, I would say that that part aided it significantly. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Are there soft skills you wished you had learned while younger?
Yes, I mean, learning is a continuous process. Really, I would say that one of the skills I wished I'd learned much earlier, which we can't go for what we have, but probably helped us step up, would be the team working skills, team ability to work with a team and interpersonal relationship. I was relatively um, an inward person, inward, introvert. I believe that just study, study package. Okay, okay. All I need to do is to read and pass my exams and fine. Knowing more about life now, life is not just about book knowledge. You need people, you need to relate, ability to begin, initiate conversations, meet people for the first time, bond, and yes, so that's one of the skills. So I would say that working skills, team building skills, people skills were things that I had to learn over time, which if I'd known, I'd be like, I would get a better story now, but really we're trying to get. And also, as I said, part of I was a bit of an inward person, so presentation skills really, and were things that I didn't really have. You know what you want, you know what you have, you know what you know, but being able to articulate it and present it, to the users of the information or to people was something that I needed to learn over time, which I didn't really possess. My thinking was well, I was a one man army kind of thing. All I needed is go to school, read the exam, read for the exam, and pass. That's all. But more that you know that that's not all it takes to get succeed and be an all rounder in life. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. In
So,
retrospect, do you think our secondary school education what's that word? Um, do you think the secondary school level education you had was able to prepare you for life in acquiring soft skills apart from just read pass? Do you think you were adequately prepared for such soft skills
um,
obtainable in this century?
a lot of secondary school, so start thinking about this. I would say that I would say no. I mean, not an outright no, but to some extent, I think that the kind of counseling I got when I was leaving the junior secondary school classes was more like you did well, you did very brilliant in your GSS exams, junior secondary exams. So by default, you go to science class, and that didn't really give me a wide um, scope or wide horizon of other career options that I could actually explore, you know. So I was just like, if you say something they call um, pushed, probably like, just by default put in sciences. And I didn't, I'm not a doctor now, I'm not an engineer. So really, I think that in that respect, there will be a gap. Maybe the guidance and counseling, career counseling aspects, there will be a gap. And also, I would say that yeah, I mean, there are some positives. It's not all negative because it's not all negative, but maybe for the part I'm accounting now, my secondary school I wasn't. You're talking about secondary school experience when starting the commercial and all that. I think there's a bit of a gap. Overall, really, as I said, yeah, the positive and negative. But there's still room for a lot of improvement in that area.
Thank you very much. So, you know that the kind of secondary schools we have now, there are those who are privileged to be taught almost what we learned in our part one, part two. What about students in schools whereby, such soft skills are nearly non-existent? How can they learn, or how can they pick up these soft skills you're talking about?
So if I get a question right, it's more about in secondary schools where um, the skills, a couple of soft skills, are not in their curriculum or in their
Yeah,
they don't
yeah,
have it because of their study.
yeah.
Well, I mean, I think with my understanding, I mean, now we know that the the household of a child is both the input from the school and the input and training um, from parents. So I would say that parents, you know, need to come up with models to augment or to augment and to cushion the gaps that private schools, I mean, the secondary schools get to have if you know that a couple of other skills are required, for to gain some ground, right? And you see that gap in the school. You, the word, how I mean, it's um, their classes, their training, I mean, probably clubs, extra moral, extra, let's say, extra tuition models, institutions that you can actually let your work subscribe to, probably during holiday seasons that get to help them to develop this kind of skills. And also, there are programs that are outside the school, by some part institutions that they can also be part of, and also, I mean, if you see a gap in the school, this is also, I mean, there's always a forum for parents, teachers, association meeting where you can actually say that the school should uh, come up with programs to fill that gap. So you're not just thinking about your word alone, to fill that gap. You're talking to the school so that the school can actually inculcate it and start a scheme, program, or plans to to manage that gap. Really, you know, if other or alternatively, you can look for other programs outside the school environment, other tuition programs within different you know institutions to let your words get that skill set.
All right. Thank you very much for that response. So, apart from being a chartered accountant, how did you get into investment and finance? I think you mentioned something like that, right?
Yes, accounting is accounting finance is a very broad discipline. Very broad. Finance, audit, tax, cost management, investment management, payroll. So very broad. Yeah, now, um, people are trying to something called being a specialist in an area, really. So in the bid and attempt to specialize, you know, I forward into investment, capital market, you know, capital market, investment, banking, and management. And also, yeah, that's it. And also, I mean, it was an area of the economy that was really booming at a point. Still booming, but the point was there was so much of a boom in that area in the capital market, stock market, investment management and investment banking, corporate finance schemes. So it endeared a couple of us into it. It's all about money. So we chose to specialize to build some to augment our knowledge rather than having a general knowledge about it. We chose to have some specialized knowledge and skills in that area. So that's how my journey to being an investment professional came in. But all in all, really, just want to have a good feel of different things so that you don't know this anywhere.
All right, thank you very much. So for a student who probably had or has an uncle or an aunt he or she looks up to as an accountant and wants to be an accountant and is weak in our not in our mathematics and numerals, would you advise such a person to still put in for accounting or just let go of that dream?
For a student that wants
Who
to do
wishes to be
account,
an accountant, but
okay,
our mathematical skills are very low.
all
What
right,
would you
okay.
advise such a person?
Um, yeah, that's. I mean, I think basically I advise the what the students which used to be an accountant, you know, but you have very low mathematics. You can actually build it. There's nothing that can be developed. There's no skill that can be groomed and to a higher level. Really, just try to take more tutorials, more studies, study more in that area, and you would eventually do well. Because if that's your passion, if that's what you like, if you don't do it, that gap will still be there. That hurt you still feel that you can actually have that unfulfilled effect because of ambition. So what I'm saying is something you can build. The skills you feel you don't have, the mathematical acumen that you feel you don't really possess. It's not about mathematics. It's not about fingers. You can actually build it, and if you're average in math, you can still be a good accountant. So you just need, and it's not apart from the figures, you need analytical skills, visual skills. So it's not just the financial mathematical thing. So you're not going to become a professor of math anyway. So it's just basic. So you still just take more tuition in that area, and you would probably get.
Okay, thank you very much. One last question, so we could attend to others also. Would you advise teenagers to be rigid in their choice of career or be flexible and not be rigid that I must do this career or nothing else?
Oh yeah, I would say they should be flexible. You know, they should be very very flexible in their choice of career because most of the things that, especially at that age, I mean, teenage age, most of the things that inform the choices we make are relatively limited in nature. The information we have at that stage of life is relatively limited and restricted, limited. So if you make a very rigid decision based on limited information or exposure, um, it might not go so well. So there should be room for flexibility. Get to understand yourself. Get to understand your inner skills. Get to understand the things you do with ease. Like I would say that what I do now, I'm very happy doing it. It's seamless for me, really, and that's key to your job. Because if you do something and you do it with some level of it doesn't come with ease. You don't you're not so happy doing it. it can to affect your long-term happiness in life. A large part of our life we spend it working, So it's very important that you do something you're flexible and do something that comes to you naturally, that comes with ease, even if you're not really paid. Obviously, money is important, but if you're not paid so much, you still enjoy it. And so, because most of the things we decisions we take in our teenage years, because of us, are aggressively limited to the information we have then and the exposure we have then. Really. So I would say there should still be given for other options and quite flexible in their career options and career choice.
All right. Thank you very much. Any last words for our teenagers? Any advice you wish you had been told yourself while growing up?
I mean, just general advice that anybody which are key to success in life, you need to have a focus. It's very, very important to be focused and also know what you want and be determined to go all the way. Be determined to go all the way and be focused and very ambitious, and yeah, and above all, hard work pays. Nothing good comes so easy. Nothing good comes like a stroll in the park. There's room for you need to put in the hard work. I mean, hard work and smart work. It's hard work and smart work nowadays. It's hard work, smart work, work smartly, and put in hard work. The focus, be determined, and be ambitious. And this can be it. Thank
Okay, that's it. Okay. Thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate your words and your commitment towards our program for today. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much, Mr. Adeniran.
you. Yeah.
So, hello. Okay, we have Mr. Ayosola David on next.
Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mr. Ayosola David. Could you give us like a very concise introduction about yourself and your career path, please?
Okay, my name goes Umishe Ayosola David.
Okay.
I'm a data analyst. I'm also an IT professional as well, and I think that should be precise enough to give you an overview of what I do.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So, um, can you give us like what were you a science student in secondary school?
Yes, yes, I was a science student in secondary school.
So, what were your strengths?
I was a science student, but my major strength wasn't coming from my science subject. I was maybe because of the way we're being taught in school. Most of your favorite teachers become most of your favorite subject.
True.
Yeah, I loved economics. I love economics. I had passion for computer science as well um, because of my upbringing. So that was my major strength. It was not really science story, but I had more flair for science, for computer science to be precise.
So prior to when you gained admission to the university, did you ever get to use a computer?
I've been using the computer since the age of 5.
Oh, good for
Uh,
you.
yeah, I was. My dad had one of the first or second establishment of the Sawa Cafe back in, I think, 1990, should be 99, 2000. So I was born into it. So I developed an habit for it. And that's been the drive so far. I love working with the system because it makes life easy for you as long as you understand what it takes. So I was just born into the system. So that has been the drive so far.
So let's say it is very safe to assume that you were nurtured in IT, and so definitely your career path was going to be along that line?
Well, I would say I was nurtured in IT because I'm coming from a family of four, and I am the only one that is picking IT as a major career path. So if I say I was nurtured, I just picked a personal interest in it. In short, I was even the last born of a family of four, so you can see it went through a lot of people before it got to me.
But
So yeah,
you're not
so
that picked it up.
definitely. So
Yeah.
it's just a personal interest and the way forward. I felt I'm just comfortable with this path, and I feel it makes life easy for me, and it has been making life easy for me as well.
Mm, that's fantastic. So what university did you attend, please? And
Well,
what were your first and second choices when you
well,
took that?
yeah, well, I did. Actually, I did ND. I did my ND program first, which is Abradisha Polytechnic in Ogun State. What I now went for my BSc in Lautech. Lautech is a Bomosha to be precise, and which I did my BSc as well. So, and well, my first choice was when I was to go for IFE. That was in 2000 and I think 2009. But due to one or two things, it wasn't possible. So I thought, let me just go for a lesser thing. Then from there, with time goes on, I'll push for higher grounds.
Okay. So can you explain how your lecturers in Lautech were? Do you think they were supportive enough? Do you think they were knowledgeable enough to push you along this career path? Because we have found out some students they actually got discouraged by their lecturers and
Lecturer.
either they have this disinterested view about their course or just found themselves in another course. So do you think
Well,
your lecturers were that encouraging?
okay, yeah. I think let me start with my ND days because my ND was the major foundation of what got me to this stage. I was sharing with a colleague very recent. I said most of the things we learned in our ND, what we imparted, what we got from our lecturers in our NDs were the major foundation of what we have that we're enjoying. So those that ended days, the ground were broken down and was softened for us to when we got to the university. So our lecturers had a major role because they have been there, so they had the major touch to share the light with everyone. So they had the major part to play, and they did their own part. So it's not left for the student to now pick up the pieces they have dropped for you and say, okay, fine, this is this. Can I enhance this thing this way? Because to be honest with you, they would not give you 100%. Any lecturer will not give you 100%, and neither will even give you a 80, neither a 70, but will give you a 40. Then it's now left for you to go behind bars or behind the scene to make researches and to do a lot of things to make your own dream come true. Like let me just give an example. When I was my ND days, I'd already before even my ND2, I already finished my projects. I never had a project topic. I picked up the software and I tried to design on my own. A GPA software which I just picked on my own. Then when the time came in, I was like, I've designed this thing now. Let me just push it. And within a week, my project was done. So
Wow.
it wasn't taught in the class. I don't know if you're getting me. It wasn't taught in the class, but a idea was shown into the classroom or a lecture room. But you as a student is not left for you to pick it up and do what? Make it work. So they have their own role, and you also have a very, very important role also to take as a student. So that's why I said they have a major role as well, definitely, but at least because they have been there. So the major breakthrough comes to when you pick up those pieces and what make them work for you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. David. What certifications have you had so far?
Okay, so far I had the major. I have a Cisco certification, certified by Cisco, which I did about 2010. Also, I have in advanced Excel training. I have a certification as well there, and the normal basic desktop publishing. I had that very young at 2002. I had certification of desktop publishing, and on Excel, PowerPoint presentations, all the 041 of Office. Also, I got into a bit of SPSS, that spreadsheet also. And because, basically, if you're working on calculating numbers and everything, you need all the old applications that you can work with as well. So I had some in LinkedIn. I had some certification in LinkedIn as well, and a few ongoing one as well with Microsoft. I have two already in Microsoft, and I have some ongoing ones as well in Microsoft. About eight or seven in total for now.
Okay, thank you very much. So, data analysis. You're a data analyst, right?
Yeah, sure, sure.
All your certifications, all you did in Lautech back then,
Yeah.
did they lead up to this, to your being a data analyst, sorry.
Okay. Like I said, the dream didn't come up through during Lautech. The dream came in through my early days. So I had the mindset of I love working with the system because it makes my work faster and it makes it easy for me. And Lautech also had the contribution to play as well. It had its own part to play because it shed the major light to there's a saying that says, or would I say a concept of knowing what to do and also doing it the right way.
Sure.
So knowing what to do is when we had our ending days, then doing it the right way is when the Lautech has its own role to play as well. So and also after that, you not take as a person when I get those certifications, those ones will not give you the what they don't do or how those things operate. So Lautech has a major role as well. As a person also, like not all of us that we graduated in Lautech are in the places we are now. So you as an individual, you have a major role to play. So laughter can plant a seed. You can decide to, water it, and you can decide to let it die. So it depends on your own personal relationship with your what you want to become, how you want to become, and even your lecturers as well. Because as long as the lecturer sees your intention, he will like to work with you. So
Okay.
Lautech had played also a major role in where me being a data analyst today.
For the sake of teenagers
Okay.
or and other listeners who do not understand the what being a data analyst is, could you give us like an inkling into what it entails and how it how the industry is going to grow 5 years, 10 years from now, especially in Nigeria?
Wow. Okay, that's a very good question. I know a lot of people don't really, like the word data analyst. Sometimes when I tell people I'm a data analyst, they're like, please what? And I'll be like, okay, go and check Google. Because I'm tired of explaining to people
Mm-hmm.
who a data analyst is. Well, from the word data, we all know data deals with raw fact and figures. So an analyst is just the person that converts those data to meaningful information for the business or the organization or a firm to bring out those raw figures, which may not make meaning at the time it's been gotten from maybe from the outside market, and convert it to a meaningful information that can make people, you know, rich. Because like let me give you an example, this census of a thing. Let's assume we have a number of 30 million in a particular local government or in a particular country. That data, we can also split that data to units. So if a country or particular state want to establish something, you have a data that is 30. Then that data analyst can tell you you have male of 50 or 15, female of 15, and do a breakdown of all these things into categories to make it now make, when I tell you have 30 million people, that's not information, that's just data. So analyst is the person that now tell you, okay, you have 15 males, We have two children and everything. So it breaks you down. It tells you the 15, 10 is unemployed, 15 is employed. You understand? It gives you the SI unit, the simplest unit of those data to be able to work with. So if I tell you 30 million, 30 million can be 30 million, can be 30 million unemployed, 30 million employed. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So
Yeah, what you're saying.
if a data analyst, without a data analyst, a data or without data analyst, a community or a government or a firm, a company will just have figures that will never make money and will never fetch you anything. So and just to share, like I've working for Guinness for the past 8 or 9 years. Um, came in and as an IT, and the way data has really helped multinational. And I felt if this country are using the way data the way data is the access we have to data, and they're using it very well in this country or in firms, I think will make millions, if not billions of naira. And data is the next phase in the world. Data science, data analyst is everywhere now. If you are with the next 5 years, data analyst will be hot cake. I can even no, we're not even talking about next 5 years. In the next 2 3 years, because if you are, a friend of mine called me from Germany, just to chip it in. A friend called me from Germany, and it was discussing because he knows one of those things. That he said, "Please, can you come to Germany like tomorrow? You guys are hot cake." This guy just had just the basic knowledge why we're in Nigeria here. He said, "Omishore, you can make millions in 2 months." He said, because what we're taking for granted here in Nigeria here, those they are begging for it there. So that's why we see we don't all these things are because we don't value it much in this country, and we don't get results, or we don't get it's not been monetized very well. So in the next 5 years, data analyst, let's write it down anywhere, there's going to be the one ruling the community, the society, the world as a goal. I don't know if that answered your question.
So, for okay, sorry, Mr. David.
Yeah.
I've been told that the kids cannot hear you well, that
Okay.
you're not loud enough. So I don't know whether it's something from your end that you think.
Okay. Is it better now?
Okay. I can hear you, but I'm not. Let me ask for me, please.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, she said that you are good. So
Okay. All right. So
okay, that you are okay.
okay. So what part should I probably?
No, okay, no. I think you're good. So in other words, let's call you mm, a prophet, a scientific prophet. That's what data analysts do. That
Definitely.
they can look at figures now, data now, and predict the future, or they predict now and the future, right?
Definitely.
Okay. Hmm. So basically in Nigeria, you are either a science student or an art student.
Yes.
So do you think it's easy for a non-science for a student who didn't have the science background most people have? Is it easy for such a person to switch career to data analysis?
Okay. Yeah. Yes. I think it is very, very easy to switch from being a art student, a science student, or a commercial student. Because the way data analyst or the way the career path is being designed, it's an open system. you know, I could remember back then when secondary school, I have a friend that did art, and when it was coming, it was like, please, oh, is there where I can move to your department? There's also the person, okay, you need to get 2 or 3 subjects merged together, you know, and the person was in. So why the person was in, and the person was doing fine. In short, it was one of the top 5 students in the school. So it is very, very easy. All you need to do is, and we have a lot of firms outside there that does this thing on a daily basis. Instead of, it's even better than going to school, because in school they won't teach you the rudiment. They'll just teach you the basic. Okay, just do this and do that. But in these companies like HINT, NNIT, Microsoft, and Co, these are not university. We all know they are not universities, but these are companies that are set aside to do those things. So even if you have your BSc as in nursing or BSc in law or other firm, you still have interest, you can still move in do all those courses before you know you are in the system than me being a data analyst and said I want to become a lawyer today. That is very, very impossible. It's going to take me years to do that. But you being a non-science student as well, it gives you room. As long as you have the dream, you have the drive to push, because it takes the drive to push. I tell you, data analyst is not a day job. I've spent weeks just trying to achieve a particular task, weeks of thinking. So we just look at the name data entry. This is just two plus or minus. It's not like that. I could remember when in school then we were doing a lot of maths. We did one of the craziest maths in school. For those students, I think computer science is just operate laptop. No, it's more than that. It's more than that. We did lot of maths. I'm talking about calculus, or the craziest maths in engineering. We did them too as well. So it's all about the drive to do it. You know, when those maths, when we're like, what do we need maths for? We're lamenting. Out of all the courses, we have three maths courses, three courses out of nine. Three are maths, and we're like, no, what's going on? So, but now I'm now feeling those days that, this is why we needed those maths, because we do with a lot of analysis that you need to think. You convert numbers to words. You sit down, okay, if we do this and do this. So that's when the math playing in. So like I said, it's been a very long way, and it takes the drive to move from a non-science subject to being a data analyst, but it's possible with your own level of dedication, and it's plausible as well.
Thank you very much for that. That was really interesting. And one thing I want to ask is, okay, when we're discussing with Mr. Adeniran earlier on,
Okay.
he said one of the soft skills he wished he had learned earlier was teamwork. So, what are the soft skills you, as an IT person, learned or wish you had learned earlier than now?
Okay, I think starting with Excel. My Excel isn't bad. I have at least a very good knowledge in advanced Excel, but I wish I've understood what Excel and maths in question, because Excel is a limelight for data analyst. You'll be using your Excel and you'll be manipulating a lot of data. So it takes a very, very high IQ on Excel to work, because that is the major tool you'll be using. Just like you have a designer that uses a 3D Max for what's it called, for designing. Excel is a major tool. So I wish I had started earlier. In those days we were just typing, playing games on computer, and opening and closing of computers. Then if I've started my Excel skills very, very early, I know I'll probably be in this stage I am right now.
Hmm. Is your career, does it entail you working with others or you have to work alone?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. No, but there are some tasks that you need to just take your time. It depends on your team. If you have a good team that is working, you fine. It's a teamwork. It's a team career though. You need to put heads together, but sometimes when you feel, or you need to just stay put yourself and work those things on pen or paper. Why not? But when you have a good team and a mind that thinks alike as yours, then you're good to go. As a team, you'll be working very fine as well.
Okay. You know, you said something about being analytical,
Yeah,
how to think, and that's the same thing our previous speaker, Mr. Dino, also talked about.
yeah.
Judging from Nigerians, and everything in Nigeria, do you think there's a way we could teach children how to be analytical from a very, very young age, how to think outside the box, how to think on their own, how to, because I, from the little bit of maths I did, it entails you thinking.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
don't
sure.
do, wuru to the answer like we used to do then. So how do you think teenagers, especially because they're the ones whom this program is for, how can they develop their analytical thinking so they can think in more intelligently than we did when we were younger? Is it through books? Is it by browsing the websites? I mean, browsing in the internet. How can we teach kids how to be analytical, think for themselves, and know what they want for themselves?
Okay, I think I'm going to split your
My
question.
question, sorry,
Hello.
and I can hear you.
Okay, so I'm going to split your question into two. The reason why I'm splitting it is, you said through books and through the internet. Now you can do it via those two platforms as well. But the best way to do it without abusing the use of internet is the electronic way. There's nothing, I repeat, anybody can quote me anyway, there's nothing you are looking for on the internet. I'm talking about Google in person that you can't find. And that has been my tool till to date. If before I moved to the position I am now as a commercial director of Guinness Nigeria, I had a team. I was working as a tracking team where we monitor all trucks that, when a tax is being assigned to the team, and the team will like, oh, this thing is this thing. I said, all you need is Google. You don't need anything else. As long as you know those keywords of your problem and you put it in the Google search engine, Google will give you your answer. Google will not give you the exact, but will give you an answer to your problem, no matter where the word you're stated, and no matter how hard the question is or what you're trying to solve. As well, now the rule of your book also have a part to play. Now, I remember I taught for like a year in school, in secondary school, and I was going through a curriculum and I saw exactly what we did in school in that curriculum. Throughout that particular curriculum, I wasn't holding a textbook to the class because that stuff what we did in school actually sticked in my head. So that I said, a book has a very very important way to play as well to the career path, because if you don't think, because those days I don't know if it happens now when I read, and when you have questions, if I see the questions to a particular problem and you've read well, you picture the answer right in your head. It's only when you've not read the book at all or you've
Okay.
not taken the yes. So I feel you can think two ways and you can meditate two ways by the book. If you are tired or you don't understand what you have on your paper, you can go to the internet. It gives you every solution you want, because because if you meet students now, they say books is boring and everything. There's no pictures, there's no icons or for illustrate and whatever. Why don't you go to the internet? Google is colorful. Probably when you see a color, an image of a solution, it's probably stick. What research says students understand media more than written. So if you show them pictures or video, or when they hear sounds of a particular solution, they understand it better. Like I remember this particular Hooks law that we used to sing. Oh, sorry, Avogadro's law. We used to sing then in Yoruba when we were in secondary school. Till date, because it was a song then,
Please,
we
could you sing
still.
it for us, please? Thank you.
He said, I think he said avocados, so we pay equal to plus, it's just something like that, because it was a song, we usually remember them.
Okay.
So that's why I said the way we meditate, it is also it's splitted those two ways. That's why I decided to. There are some things when you see images on Google, and you just picture those images, it's just on your head immediately. But just that the way internet is being used nowadays is crazy. As at me now, I still go through researches. If you look at my electronic books alone, you'll be wondering if I was a professor, but I'm not one. But students get bored when you write things for them. But when you convert it to media, images, sounds, I'm telling you, you'll be so. It's not the same student I'm writing notes for in the classes. So I think that is just the way to go, and that's what I've been helping me so far. And I felt with research, that is also the perfect way to think and the way to meditate. I don't know if that's answered the question.
Oh yes, it has answered my question a lot.
Okay.
I think with the way you described the use of the internet, it's only when you have the privilege of having a laptop or a desktop that can,
Yeah.
maneuver those. Look at let's use what's his name, Mark Zuckerberg as an example.
Okay.
He had a laptop, a personal computer for himself since when he was young. So it was
Hmm.
easier for him to do all of that. But how do you think a Nigerian student, an average Nigerian student, without the use of a laptop or a desktop, who is not earning a good salary to be able to afford to get 10 gig a month data on his phone or his laptop, how can such a child have all the time in the world to Google, to do all of that? You understand what I'm saying? I mean, what do you think we can do to help Nigerian students, especially, to develop the love for learning? Because like you said, your ebook section is as if you're a professor already. How do we teach them how to develop love for learning if one, they don't have access to the internet, they don't have a good laptop to use? How? Please explain.
Okay. I think to be honest with you, I will agree with your analysis,
Okay.
because an average Nigeria youth, an average, I repeat, it is clear, unless we want to lie to ourselves, an
Mm,
average Nigeria youth has a phone.
okay.
Now, nobody started big.
True.
Even me, I could remember my first mobile phone was this what is it called, Nigeria, this Akparumi. I used it as well,
Okay.
but thank God to technology as well. I used to Triumph and the so-called of it.
Mm-hmm.
An average Nigeria, or just want to lie to ourselves, an average
Mm-hmm.
Nigeria has an Android phone.
Okay.
Now, if a Nigeria has an Android phone and an average Nigeria youth has at least the lowest data of 1 gig on his phone or her phone, you can quote me anywhere.
Okay.
A average Nigeria goes on social media every 4 hours on a daily basis, minimum of 4 hours. And the data consumed on social media platform is not is not of this world at all. An average of 1 gig on a daily basis. Even me, I finished 30 gig in less than 1 week
Mm,
because of YouTube videos of learnings
mm,
and so. Do you understand? So it depends on the drive you have to learn.
okay.
Okay, let's assume, okay, peradventure you don't have all those things. We don't have phones, you don't have laptops, and you have friends that have.
Okay.
We have cyber cafes, even if they're minimum now.
Yeah.
You understand? The design. When I was doing my own project, I never had a laptop then. I was going to my friend's cafe to work on his laptop. I'll buy time. It was a friend of mine. I'll buy time because I needed to show that sign of seriousness. If it was given me for free, I'll just be doing social media.
Okay.
But because I know my money is at stake, I have to do something. So, a average Nigerian that goes to school will also have access to cash, a minimum of 500 naira to spare on data. I know how much those kids loads for recharge card. No, we this stats that I'm saying, I won't agree with your
I
question.
get what
This
you're
stat
saying. I
is
get what you're saying. I
this
get what
stats
you're
are
saying.
everywhere. So if they can convert those time
Those
and
playtime.
effort,
Okay.
yes, those time and effort on social media, I'm telling you, Google takes just 0.5% of what social media takes.
True.
So if they
All right.
convert those WhatsApp times or sharing of videos on Instagram that sucks data like anything, Twitter and co.
Mm-hmm.
If they
Mm-hmm.
convert those 0.5 percentage of data to researches, a PDF of 1,000 pages cannot cost less than 10 megabytes.
Huh.
And you can get that 1,000 pages, can get millions of ideas from
Oh,
it.
internet.
Do you
Okay.
understand?
Sorry. We are running short of time,
Okay,
so we have
okay,
enough time for our next speaker. So
okay.
please,
No,
final word for the teenagers. What would you advise them to do?
okay,
What would you wish they would do in like 2 minutes, please?
okay. I think the major point is Do whatever you are comfortable doing. Don't go for friend's career because there's money there. Every career has its own strength. That is the mistake youth makes nowadays. Because you feel, oh, a doctor is earning more, he's saving more. My kids or my youth, there's money in every department. Yours is what? Find your own right place, stick to it, be best of the best, and you wait for the money to come in. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate and enjoyed your talk. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So we're moving to our next and final speaker, who happens to be Mr. Biodun Olaore. He's the Regional Director, West Africa for Envirofit International Nigeria. Okay. Hello, Mr. Olaore. Are you there, sir?
Yes, please.
Okay. Good afternoon. How are you, sir?
I'm very fine. Sorry.
Welcome. Hope you've enjoyed our talk so far.
Yeah, yeah, very well.
So please, a brief introduction about your person, your work, please. Thank you.
Hmm. Okay, let me apologize first for the break in transition. The village people came knocking.
No
You know,
problem. We understand.
when the internet people are talking, when Shola was talking, he was just talking to the people on the other side. That time is going very fast. They should disconnect some people. So I think that's what they did. Anyway, yeah, my name is Biodun Olaore, and I'm an accountant by profession. I would say that was a default, but currently I'm not practicing as an accountant. And my over 19-year experience has spanned between banking, non-governmental organizations, manufacturing, sales, and agri. So far, I would tell you that I've been more of a business person than an accountant.
So let's just say you've been very fluid in your career choices all these years.
You said what?
You've been very flexible and fluid with your career choices all these years.
I was very flexible. I would put it that way because I was moving in between different fields at different points in time.
Okay.
Mm.
So tell us, when you were growing up, what did you want to be?
I wanted to be an accountant.
Oh, fantastic. So what happened? You lost the drive.
I didn't lose any drive,
Okay.
but I just realized at some point that I can't be counting people's money,
True, true, true,
right?
true. Very, very true.
So sitting down in one position, just pressing system and punching ledgers, and then telling them this is where they should post it. I just realized that see. I'm not cut out for this kind of thing to be sitting in one position and then just dishing out instructions and then signing vouchers. I don't want to sign vouchers. Let me see the where the money. Let me see where the money is going. Where the
Wait, come,
vouchers
let's
are
talk.
being put.
But do you think Mr. Ola read that?
Yes,
There
please.
was something in you because
Mm,
most people that read accounting, they
mm,
are kind of, I'm sorry to say, a bit rigid, as in they are afraid to branch out from what they studied in school. Okay, should I say most accountants, or let me just say most people are very rigid and are afraid to branch out from what they studied in school. For you, was it a personality issue or a need issue that made you diversify?
no, let me correct that impression. They are not rigid.
Okay.
Just that the profession of accounting has its own way of tailoring you to stand by certain principles and
Okay.
certain things that guide the profession. So because of that, most of our people don't really like standing by the principle. And most accountants are usually principle. They will tell you, well, if it doesn't go this way, then I don't think I'm going to do it. So people now termed some of those principles, some of those concepts of working as people being rigid. They're not rigid. So that's not what actually uh, make those people what they are. All right. So it wasn't by
Default.
maybe my personality. No. Things just for me deep inside me. I like being an accountant, but at the same time, I want to do something
Other things.
different from what right.
So what does your company do?
So currently, my company manufactures. We manufacture energy efficient cooking appliances, and then at the same time, we are also diversified into agri. So we grow chicken, we produce eggs, and we process the chicken as well for sale.
Oh, that's fantastic.
But yeah.
When people say we're not manufacturing in Nigeria, I now hear we're hearing people are manufacturing. Begin to ask yourself, what I mean, why manufacturing of cooking accessories? Why is that so?
Okay. So sometimes, maybe the student of the commercial student will understand this better.
Mhm.
There's a difference between the extractive industry, manufacturing industry. Okay. So the one we will talk about is that most times our extractive industry is not doing too well. So therefore, we cannot manufacture at the speed we wanted. So what
Okay.
happens to most manufacturers is that we actually go out there to source for our raw materials. We bring them in and we convert them into finished goods. So that's the difference of that's why people are saying we are not manufacturing. But the real truth is that we are not converting our raw materials into manufacturing components. So what happens is some people come in here, they extract the raw material, they take it out there, they turn it into raw material for manufacturers, and then all we bring in will be the components. Mhm.
Okay.
And then when we bring in the components, we convert it to what we want to convert it to. So what it means is that we don't really do any raw material conversion.
Okay. Okay.
Right.
Wow.
Mm.
So your journey so far,
Right.
can you tell us, has it been smooth? Were you expecting it to be the way it is?
Well, I can tell you there's no journey that is ever smooth. So the journey will just be I would just liken it to sugar cane, right?
Uh,
So at some point you chew the sugar cane, it's sweet at the point, right?
yeah.
And then you get to a point it's hard again. If once you're able to break the nut or the hard part, then you move to the next one, which is also sweet and soft, and then you continue. And that's the only way you continue to go in business, as I know.
As a child, sir,
Yes,
what do you
ma'am.
think? Who were your major influences? And those influences, how did they guide you along your path, your career path?
Well, I will tell you that as a growing up child, then I had an uncle who was my lesson teacher while I was in JSS one, I think, from JSS one, right? So he actually encouraged me when he saw the potential in me that I was very good when it comes to arithmetic and accuracy and all that. So he encouraged me to say, "Oh, I think you'd be better off as a business person, as an accounting student, and all that." Although he was an accountant with IPWA at that time, they
Mm.
called them, yeah, he was an accountant with the paint company. So he encouraged me. And because my father was also into engineering, he had a mechanical workshop where he actually serviced vehicles for the likes of Dunlop, Lagos State Government, IPW. So many of the big companies in the Kenya industrial area, then he was the one servicing their vehicle. So because of that, so many of those professionals comes to his workshop. So I see them with ties. I
Mm-hmm.
see them looking neat and looking good. And when I hear my father will say, "Oh, this one is an accountant. This one is the finance manager. This one, And when I see the way they look, it actually encouraged me to say, "Oh, I think it's better I go and join these guys. So they are really looking good." So I was encouraged by the people by the people I see around. And it's very funny when you see most of those accountants. Then not these days anymore. Most of the people that come to my father's workshop, they were always coming with mint, fresh mint. And when they want to pay him, they will pay him with new notes. And I'm like, ha, if new notes is what these people spend, then I better join this profession.
Mm. And that's the honest truth. Like Mr. Adeniran said,
Mm,
and you're also saying also,
mm.
you had someone to that guided you, that
Right,
influenced your choice.
right.
Do you think if okay, do you think there are people that or there are way okay, do you think there are ways we can guide and influence these teenagers to do better than us? That's our prayer. You understand? And
Mm.
what should teenagers is there anything are there any habits that teenagers need to imbibe so that they would have guidance? not just from their teachers, not just from their parents?
I will put it this way, that I think before we talk about those teenagers of what they need to imbibe in them, I think we should also talk about parents most times. Because I think at that point in time, parents too have their own interests. And because of their interest or the way they want to see their children in future, all right, they also tailor them to a line of profession. And they say, oh, I think it's good if you go and do an accounting. It is better you go and do a lawyer and all that. However, most of the children that we have these days, they have their own mind, they have their own line of interest as well, which I think is where we need to focus on and actually help them to come on the right track. Because in all honesty, I was caught in between two things. My father wanted me to be, he wanted me to be an engineer. I was very good with sciences because when my GSS 3 exams, I passed. The, that particular result then qualifies me as a science student. And they sent me to science class. My father was happy that I was going to science class, that I would pick up the engineering part of it, and then I will come and inherit the workshop, and then I continue from there. You understand? But the other side of me was saying, oh boy, this commercial, this mint note, I must follow them. And I said, and I told myself, I said, I better follow this commercial. And the way they termed the commercial student at that time, they termed them as very unserious.
Okay.
So for me, it was I was like a rebel during my own days. That out of the pack of 6 friends that were all very good guys, I was the only odd man out. I left all of them. They all went to sciences. I went to commercial. I just told them, I say, let me define myself from this particular point. Let me follow my mind, and I followed it. But because I was doing it and I excelled in that line, my parents were encouraged. So my father gave it up after a while because engineering was not the right thing. Because he wanted me to be an engineer and he was trying to just to force that down my throat.
Okay.
Every holiday I had, I was always going to the workshop. You can imagine that when other children will have holiday and then they will be free to do what he will just tell me that if you don't come to the workshop the next morning, the money I want promise I will not give you. At that point, I was forced to keep going to the workshop and all that, just to keep learning and learn. I was learning what was not interesting to me. I was just going there because he wanted me to. But because I wanted to learn how to drive very fast, I was going to the workshop. That's the truth. So I didn't have any cause to say, oh, it wasn't good. So I was doing that. But at the end of the day, I came back to where I wanted. But because I had someone who encouraged me to keep going, and because he believed so much in me, you understand what I'm saying? He did what was nice for me at that point in time. That just like Akin said, people like myself and Akin, we started accounting professional exams at an early stage, shortly after secondary school. I remember we were doing 8 years, they call it at that point in time. And I'm sure we were more like the youngest in those classes because all the people you find in those classes were like working class, older men, telling people like us, go and make the photocopy because we were the youngest. So but because you had people who believed in you, who could actually tell you, I think you will do well in this area, kindly follow through. And so they were encouraged by those things. So if we allowed people to follow their mind and then we just guide these teenagers, do you understand what I'm saying? I can tell you we'll get the best out of the people that we're actually turning out.
Very true.
Hmm.
So, NGO, the NGO part,
Right.
because it's obvious that without the support of a husband, whom he might not have been this invested in this NGO thing. So
All
both
right.
of you obviously have interest in NGO. Why
Yes.
that?
Yes. Okay, so I will tell you that the NGO actually played a very good role in my life also. Like I told you, I was an accountant. I went into banking after university. And as a banker, I was thrown into the marketing field to go and sell. And I'm like, an accountant, go to the marketing. What am I marketing? I got frustrated and I said, see. I'm not cut out for marketing.
Okay.
My role is actually accounting. So if you can't put me in the financial department, in the finance department or financial control, just take me out. So for myself, I needed to go explore the accounting profession. So I became the finance manager for a multinational NGO at that point in time. But their focus was more on economic education for the younger generation. So they started teaching children from the age of 6 to university level about economic education. So while I was the finance manager, I saw the need in all this to say, see, there was a gap while I was growing up that if I had gotten this kind of training while I was in and while I was in primary or secondary school, perhaps maybe I wouldn't have gone to study accounting. Maybe I would have gone to the line of business straight, and then I would have become. I would have done what I'm doing now. Maybe I would have done it earlier than now. That's the
Sure.
truth. But
Sure.
because that opportunity wasn't there, but I got to know about it at that time. So from there, I just told myself, I said, I think I need to take this back home. So as a finance manager, I volunteered to teach economic education in public schools. So when
Okay.
so many people volunteered, they wanted to go and teach in private school. So I said, no, no, I'm not going to volunteer in private school. I'm not a product of private school. I'm a product of public school. So I have to take this back to the public school. I remember that time I was doing it in one school in Yaba. I did one in African Church Model College in Ifako. I did it for about 2 or 3 years. I was coming there as a volunteer to teach them some of these things. So that actually shaped my life. In the course of me teaching the children on how to run a company, on how to set up a business, do you understand? I was also learning. So I think that actually changed my orientation to say, see, we had better go back to the grassroots and tell these children on how to get this thing done better. Because if you don't teach them how to manage their finances, even while they are when they are still students, I doubt how you will now teach them when they are grown up on how to manage their finances or how to run business. They will be too afraid to go and start up a business because that's what the parent tells us these days. The
That
most
makes
parents
sense.
these days will not tell you, they won't tell you about businesses that survived, businesses that succeeded. They will tell you,
Mm.
oh, I know someone. He started the business with something with his retirement benefit. Ah, that business has gone down. Ah, my you. And the next thing you do is, I think is not a no, is a no-go area. So most of these things is just a function of having the right people, having the right orientation to start up with. Once you lay the foundation for yourself, I can tell you the rest is just history.
Mm. Very interesting. I find it ironic that you said your dad was taking you to his workshop and you still
Yeah,
ended up in manufacturing. So
right.
I don't think that experience was lost.
No, 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 no. You see, for me, it was a bonus. You see, at that time I was going to the workshop, I wasn't seeing any benefit in it. I just saw that the man was punishing me, that I
Yeah.
should keep coming to the workshop. But because I was doing what he wanted me to do and I was doing it, and because I had interest of going there to learn how to drive, I was just also looking at the engineering part, servicing the vehicle and all that. But today I can tell you categorically, servicing my vehicle, doing anything engineering in the factory is not my problem. So I could
Mm.
get the wind of some of the things that I want to do at the factory. My engineers or my technicians can't mess up. Once they are telling me one funny story, I'll tell them, "Okay, don't come back, oh, don't come with that story. This thing doesn't work like that." Because I have an understanding or have a pre-knowledge of some of these things at the background. You understand? It was a lot easier for me to move it. Today I go to service my car. When I'm servicing my car, I will tell my service, my engine, my mechanics exactly what I want them to do in the vehicle, and I'll tell him, don't touch more than what I ask you to do. You know why? Because I know what is wrong with the vehicle. And I'll tell you, this is the sound I'm hearing. Just go here. Sometimes they come back to me, they tell me something different. I say, oh, guy, you are not hearing what I'm hearing. Just go back there. This is what I tell you is wrong with this vehicle. So today, that past experience is counting for me. And it's not only counting for me, it's saving a lot of money for me. That I can tell you.
That's fantastic. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, parents with their own job or parents with their own businesses, they need to, kind of encourage their children to come aboard. Get what I'm saying? Like what I've noticed with most
Right.
Nigerian
Mm.
businessmen and women is we do not allow our children to, to grow with our business because we are ashamed or maybe because we want to pamper them. So for a lot
No.
of like for a lot of and again, I think our work culture does not encourage teenagers starting work early,
No,
like obtains abroad.
no, I don't think that's what it costs. You see, what
Okay.
happened is that, you see, starting up a business
Mm.
has its own bottlenecks and difficulties.
True.
If you actually consider what you went through before your business came to the right footing, okay,
Mm.
I doubt if you want your children to pass through the same process to get to where you want them to be.
That is so true.
So that problem of I don't want my children to see what I saw, I don't want them to experience what I experienced. All they want to do for them is a ready-made food and say go and
Pamper
eat it.
them. Yeah, that's
Do you
true.
understand what I'm saying? So that is not because they don't want them to, but they are afraid that what I pass through, I don't want them to pass through the same process. So therefore, they are better not go there. So in the course of trying to shield them away from those challenges, they are also taking them away completely from the whole business. And then you
True.
realize that once they are no more, the business is no more.
It will
But
die.
for example, mine, I take them to the factory, and when I take them to the factory, I don't show them the difficult one. I tell them to start from the finishing end, where they
Mm-hmm.
package and all those things. They help them to package, sort, rearrange, and all that. And when they go to the farm, also, the last time they went to the farm, they went to pack litter. They were packing the litters. Just show them that, oh, this is what they do. This is what it all entails. But at the end of the day, whoever wants to take up an interest in that line of business, they will take it up. And if they don't take it up, but they still want to manage the business in the future, they will surely manage it. Why? They have a good rudiment about the business.
True. True.
That's just the way it is.
So what would you advise teenagers to do with their vacations? Not just wake up on Monday, watch movie, or go and hang out with their friends. What would you advise teenagers to do with their vacations?
I think
Yeah,
a job shadow wouldn't be a bad idea. Some of them should do some job shadowing. Some of them can just go on some internship experience. Most times, if the school curriculum actually allows some set of students at a particular stage of their class, maybe GSS3 or SS2 or SS3 or whatever, to go on maybe on 3 months, 6 months. Because in GSS3, if you allow them to go on 3 months, that might change them and give them a better description or a better in-depth knowledge of what their profession is likely to look at. They might go on that 3 months and somebody who is a science class will come back and say, I'm not doing science anymore.
You know
You
that,
understand?
Mm.
Right? Can come back and say, I'm not doing sciences anymore. That, oh, what I thought was different from what I saw. I think this is what I actually want to do. They can actually redirect themselves and come to the right path. Not when you now do sciences for the whole of uh, 3 years in senior secondary school, and then you get towards tail end, you now realize that economics is actually what I wanted to do. But then why did you go to science for physics?
Exactly. Or
So,
what about people? Oh, sorry.
Mhm.
Okay, continue.
So sometimes some of those things are very necessary, and maybe when they are in SS2, it's even possible if they go on a 6 month internship program or probably just shadowing. Someone who is doing sciences or someone who is doing art might actually come back and say, what I was saying is not the right thing. They can quickly swap subjects at that point in time and do a subject that will just enable, yes, and quickly enable them to come back and say, oh, this one is related to what I want to do. And then they come back to it. Because it doesn't
So
make
tell.
sense.
Okay, sorry. I thought you're done.
No, you go ahead to save the time.
So vocational schools in Nigeria.
Mm.
How can they be? I mean, look at what you're saying about teenagers going for 3 months, 6 months. All of that. What do you think are Nigerian parents' views about vocational schools? Let me speak from example.
All right.
From my little understanding of the UK British educational system, most Nigerians in the UK, they don't want their kids to go to vocational schools because, in their words, how can I come all the way from Nigeria to the UK for my child to end up to be being a plumber? You understand? So, vocational schools in Nigeria, do you think they have any role to play for the future of our younger ones?
All right. So thank you very much for bringing that up. You see, sometimes I will tell you this one is more or less of perception and the kind of uh, I don't know how to describe the second one we have for ourselves as Nigerians, and not only Nigerians, as Africans. Okay, when we want to buy stuff, we are prestige buyers. When we want to live, we are prestige people.
Yeah.
So everything about us is about prestige. How do they see me? How do they perceive me, and all that? But between you and I, why would you say a vocational job? All right, people just classify vocational training, whatever, as maybe
Menial.
yeah, mania job. I would say mania because all of them are mania, whether you like it or not. So they just classify them as maybe what is meant for some dropouts. You know, they believe if you are not successful in life, then that's when you should go and learn a vocation. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yes, when they go abroad, some of them when they go abroad, what they did not do here, they will go abroad to go and do it. How do
Very
you
true.
how do you explain this? Somebody who did not learn plumbing here, when they got abroad and they realize that plumbers are making money, the next thing they go to learn plumbing. But when they are coming from the same abroad and you see them at the airport, they wear white trainers, and you think the trainers, they've not been using it to work before. They just bought trainers because they were coming back home. And they dressed very well, not knowing that they were actually cleaning or even doing some menial jobs over there. These are menial jobs that gives money. Plumbing, painting, panel beating, mechanics, carpentry. Mention them. They're really making money. Now, the same vocation that we left and we classified as just for dropouts is what most of our graduates are now coming back to do, but in a better way. Imagine somebody going to university, finishing university, and they came back, they said they get to go and learn fashion design. Maybe because they were calling it tailoring at that time. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now they call it fashion design. So how can somebody now come now? Somebody who went to university and came out and they said, oh, they want to do interior decoration. What is interior decoration? Sewing, cutting, furniture, Abby. Is it not the same thing that they were calling carpentry work before?
Yeah, an upholstery.
Exactly, just because the way we perceive them at that point in time. You know, if we actually find a better way to classify these jobs, all right, and give them the prestige they desire, because without some of these vocational jobs, some of us cannot even exist. The table I'm working on, the chair I'm sitting on, it was done by these vocational people. So why are we now saying that the vocation is for dropouts? No, it's not for dropouts. If the woman who did Ibuka Oshika, I could remember, sofa chair those days. You know what I'm saying? She was doing furniture, school furniture, office furniture, and all that. But they're making money from it. But it depends on how you actually couch this out. I will tell you one good experience. I manufacture cook stoves. Do you know the moment I say cook stove, the only thing that comes into the mind of our people is a kerosene stove. And they will look at it in one kind, that stove. And they will be asking me, stove, are you serious? Do you understand what you're saying? I say, yeah, it's cook stove. That's what I manufacture. They will not be asking me what does it is. By the time I tell them, but by the time they now see what I'm talking about, they say, oh, this is what you meant. This is really lovely. This is someone who had a very wrong perception of me at the initial stage. So imagine me if I wasn't married and I'm going to my in-laws' house and I'm telling them I manufacture. The next thing they will just tell the girl, oh, show you about it. Oh no, this one not equal. You know, you see this kind of perception. It is only when they now see that, oh my low, okay, the guy is rich. I say, hey, even my father, I will tell you this one. I bought a vehicle at some point. You understand what I'm saying? And I told him, I showed it to him. Do you know what he asked me? He said, is it this stove that you are selling? And I said, yes. He said, and people are buying it. I said, yes. He said, and that's where you got this money. I said, yes. Do you understand? Even my father was not convinced that it was the stove that was giving me money. And this is the perception we have generally about trade, vocation, and the rest of them, because we feel they're welder. What is welding and all this? There's no money there. Meanwhile, these are businesses, these are vocation, these are trades that are actually money spinning.
That's fantastic. So can we have Mr. Adeniran give us a quick 1 minute, one and a half minutes roundup, because we have to be out of this class in less than 5 minutes, please. Mr. Adeniran. Hello, sir. Mr. Adeniran. Is he still there?
I think he's on mute.
Oh, sorry. Mr. Adeniran.
Okay, yeah, I can hear you now, yeah.
Well, 1.5 minutes, please say something to our teenagers. Thank you.
Yeah, beautiful time here. I must say, I've learned so much from Mr. Ayosola and Mr. Biodun. It's been outgained as well. You know, what I would tell our teenagers, you know, from everything we learned here, is to be very open-minded. You know, just in line with what I said earlier, be flexible. You know, and be flexible, explore options, just like Mr. Biodun said. I mean, job shadowing, you know, it will help to have insight into different things. And the more options you have, the more, the higher the chances of making a very interesting and I mean, good long-term decision that you'll be fulfilled with and you'll be happy with on the long run. So, as I said, just be open-minded, and I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adeniran. Mr. Mishori Ayosola, 1.5 minutes, please.
Okay. Thank you for this time. I think I really have learned as well. from the entrepreneurial side as well. What for the youth and teen in the house, just explore as much as possible. Do your check and balance where you're comfortable with, because getting a career path, you must be comfortable with it. It's not something you do for the money. Fine, money is the reward as well, but as long as you're comfortable with it and you know you can deliver, because it's when you're delivering well that's when you get your money. That's when your money comes in. So be comfortable with it and make sure you're diligent in what you're doing. Work hard, work smart. If you work very hard with something that takes people 10 years, you can achieve it in 4 years, and you're working very, very smart. Because sometimes, this kind of role, you have the day to do all your working as well. You can also set aside time to also enjoy yourself. Because it's when you have the settled mind that you can think very, very well. And thank you very much, everybody, again.
Thank you very much, Mr. Obifere. Really appreciate your words today. Really, it was really eye-opening. Our entrepreneur, Mr. Biodun Olaore. Final 1.5 minutes, please. Final words, please. Thank you.
Hello?
Hello, Mr. Olaore.
Yes, my name is Biodun Olaore, not
Okay.
Olaore. It's
Oh,
Biodun
sorry, Mr.
Olaore.
Biodun Olaore. Sorry for that.
Thank you very much. All right. So maybe I'll put it this way. So, and I think we should mind the way we give ourselves titles. Don't call me entrepreneur. If you call me entrepreneur, people just think
Ah.
entrepreneur, I just serious entrepreneur. They just walk around the street. They don't know what they do.
But you are an entrepreneur.
Yes, I am. But you see, the perception of our people about entrepreneur is that anything goes. That's what people see as entrepreneurs
Okay.
back home here. They don't see them as a problem solvers. All right. So what I would tell people is follow your dream. All right. When I say dream, not unachievable dreams, not when you say you want to be Davido or the rest of them. No. Follow your passion. Follow what you believe in strongly, and at the same time, go after experience before money comes. Because most times, most youth are actually after the money. But I think it's better they go after the experience, because with experience, money will come naturally. It will follow through. So that's what I will encourage them to do. Let's spend our good time to gather all the experiences that is required, even though if they are not paying us much money as we desire. But let's just take it at that point in time as one of those things that we need to learn. Experiences are not they're expensive to acquire, because if you have money, you can't get experience most times. But if you have experience, definitely you will get the money, because it's the experience that you use to negotiate for that money. That's the truth.
Thank you very much. And
Right.
thank you
Yeah.
for the teenagers who also tuned into our session. I hope you learned a lot. I hope you're able to get mentors who would assist you and who would direct you and guide you, like we've heard our three speakers talk about today. And please, teenagers, also try to be patient, obedient, inquisitive, and at the same time polite. We're able to get words of knowledge and experiences from the adults around you. It was really fantastic hearing and talking with everybody. Thank you, Fumi, for such a fantastic opportunity. I look forward to doing more of this with you. Have a lovely day, everybody. Thank you. Bye bye.
Yeah, bye.
All right then.
So we can all move into the